It's just because the princess is too beautiful. The king decided to marry his own daughter. This king, immensely wealthy, possessed three priceless treasures. The first was a queen of unparalleled beauty. The second was a pure and lovely daughter. And the last was a magical donkey that ate ordinary hay, yet excreted glittering gold and jewels. But the queen fell greatly ill, asked the king to make an oath. Only by finding a woman more beautiful than her, the king may remarry. After the queen's death, the king was heartbroken. However, it wasn't long before his ministers urged him to remarry, for the kingdom needed a prince to inherit the throne. It wasn't long before a subordinate submitted it, a portrait of the most beautiful woman in the country. Yet the king remained mindful of his late wife's final wish, insisted on finding a woman more beautiful than her. He looked through them all, but none surpassed the departed queen. Then, glancing down from his window, accidental discovery. The princess has become an unparalleled beauty. Not only is her appearance extremely beautiful, whose wisdom and grace even surpass her mother's, so the king resolved to marry his own daughter. He felt that only by doing so that he would not break his original oath. The princess heard the unethical proposal. The princess fell to her knees and begged the king to revoke his order. However, the king has decided, no matter how the princess cries out, in order to get the princess's consent, the king consulted an old priest. However, his greed outweighed his piety. In order to win the king's trust, completely disregarding the girl's innocence, it is said that there are records in historical books. Ancient kings had precedents. This pleased the king, convincing him the marriage was justified. At this moment, the princess fell into despair, hurried to seek help from the fairy godmother. Marrying one's father is a serious crime that violates moral ethics. The king's absurd ideas must be stopped. She came up with 3 ideas for the princess, claimed to do as she says. Then one can turn danger into safety. Ask the king for one first. A dress as blue as the sky. The second must be as brilliant as the moon. The third must outshine the sun itself. Refused to marry unless she received them. He wanted to use this to make the king give up. Thought this demand was simply impossible to fulfill. However, the king immediately ordered preparations. Soon a dreamlike dress was made. The princess left with no other choice. Suddenly I thought of the king's most precious donkey, and said he wanted the hide of that magical donkey, or she would not marry, though the king was filled with reluctance. But in order to marry the princess, the king ordered the donkey killed for its skin. Seeing the princess, there was no excuse to decline. The fairy acted swiftly. She had the princess put on the donkey's skin, gave her a magic wand. She covered the princess's peerless beauty with mud. That night, the princess was sent out of the palace by carriage. Since then, the princess lived incognito, dressed in donkey skin, fled to another country,